Hey, it's Dave. Hey, I just wanted to talk today about playing the most important note that a bass player can play, which would be the root note. And a lot of times, we spend a lot of time working out lots of cool riffs, but really, as a bass player, we're going to spend most of our time playing root notes. And a lot of times we forget that we need to practice those sorts of things. And I'm going to show you a routine that I used to teach. I used to use a metronome to teach this, but now that we have all this fancy technology, we'll just use a real basic drum beat. And the idea is I'm going to start off playing whole notes, and then I'll play half notes, and I'll play quarter notes, I'll play eighth notes, I'll play 16th notes. And then we'll listen to the kick drum pattern, and we'll try to play the bass and emphasize the kick drum. And then we'll try to emphasize the snare drum. And then we'll try to play in between the beats. So we'll drop the one. And then we may mess around with the muting and learn how to add some muted notes into our bass part to kind of make it sound more rhythmic. And we might talk about doing octaves, putting some octaves in there. It's still the root note, just one octave higher. So these are things that we can do. They're really simple, and they can make us sound like sometimes sound like we're better than we are, right? If you're a player and you've got really good rhythm, and you can play a really good strong note, that really can sound great in the band. So let's start our drum beat, which sounds just like the beat from Billie Jean, and we'll start off here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is play whole notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. How about half notes? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now quarter notes. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of times I call that 4 on the floor. A lot of times a drummer will play the kick drum on every quarter note. And they call that beat a 4 on the floor. That was playing short notes. How about long notes? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. We can vary our note length as well. We can play tight like I was. Different ways we can play the same note. What about eighth notes? You can do this in rock and roll all the time. 3, 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Add the octave in to make it more interesting. Tighten the notes up. I'm using left hand muting to do that. I'm lifting up off the string each time. What about 16th notes? That's a little bit difficult with this beat because there's nothing to base our 16 off of. The hi-hat's the fastest thing in the beat, and it's eighth notes. So we have to think about this a little bit to get into our 16th note. 2, 3, 4. So, see, after doing it for a few seconds, I kind of got into the groove of it. It's important to practice playing 16th notes. That's something that can actually really push a song. If you're the fastest moving instrument, you're getting a faster pulse than maybe the drums are. Sometimes that can really help push something. So maybe the last measure of a verse into a chorus, you might use that. You might push it. You might that kind of moves it up. It lifts up the song. Let's talk about this drum beat. Let's try playing on the kick drum. So the kick drum is on these beats. 1 and 3. One, two, three. So we can accent the kick drum with short notes, or we can do it with long notes. We can play the snare. We can play the bass drum with the low note and the snare with the octave. We can drop the 1 and we can kind of play in between the beats. We can come up with patterns that aren't reflected in the drums and try to play those. Maybe think of some of your favorite songs and just try to think of the rhythm of that pattern. Maybe I'll think of like the song Purple Haze. Dun 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 dun. Bow no no no. Alright, I'll play that. You can think of all different sorts of songs you may already know, and think about the rhythm of the melody of the song or the rhythm of some totally different song to try to come up with rhythmatic patterns that you can play in here. You can also think about like drummers practice different patterns like paradiddles, and you can work on some of those patterns and try to play those over this. So there's a lot of different options of what you can do. I'm not a big proponent of spending a ton of time practicing with a metronome. The thing that I've found that's useful with a metronome is if you want to increase your speed. A good example would be playing 16th notes. For a week, set your metronome at a certain rate and work on just playing one note and work on playing it at a certain rate until you're real comfortable with it, and you can do it all day long in your sleep. You don't even have to think about it. Then work on moving around, keeping that same tempo. And each week slowly increase the speed of that. And that's one way that you can build. You can not only build up your right hand speed, you can also build up your stamina. And one thing that'll help that I've found over the years is to play a 16th note line for a long period of time. One of the best ways to help out with that is sometimes you have to lighten up your attack a little bit. I found when you really get tense and your hand really gets tense, sometimes it's really detrimental to your playing. It really makes it hard to play those staccato patterns for a long time. I know a lot of modern bass players, they listen to Wolfpack and listen to Joe Dart and the song Deantown, where he does that straight 16ths. And I'm sure that he picked that up, or he picked up that idea from Rocco Prestia. And if you ever listen to Tower of Power, especially like What Is Hip, or any of the songs on that album I think the album was called What Is Hip, but you listen to that and you can hear Rocco, even during like songs that are a ballad, he's playing 16th notes all the time. And He does a lot of those octave skips. And I know I practiced a lot. I spent a lot of time with a metronome practicing this pattern. I started off slow, and I kept increasing it until I could get it, to the speed of the record. But that's what I find a metronome's good at, is if you're just trying to build speed, it definitely is a big time help. Other than that, I never really spent a lot of time practicing with a metronome. If you play in a band, you're playing with a metronome. If you're playing with a drummer, or you're playing with other players, and you have to keep time, you're going to learn how to keep time. So, I think most people have a natural sense of what time is. And just by playing with other people, you're going to get better at that. So I hope that was interesting to you, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.